All right, I will call the meeting to order. First order of business is with the minutes from May 23rd.
I didn't have anything.
I did not have anything, Jack.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 23rd as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Nicely done, Jade.
So. Even non-public?
No,
You didn't have non-public,
Okay.
right?
I
no,
don't think so.
I don't think so. No, you did. We did.
no, we did
You would
not.
have emailed.
Yeah, we did not.
I wrote that.
We didn't have any.
All right, next on the agenda is a discussion relating the proposed revisions to the traffic ordinance.
Yes, so Chief Morris and I reviewed the traffic ordinance in order to essentially have enforcement down in the ladies' bathtub parking area. So we also made some kind of minor kind of just cleanup stuff as well. We thought it would be good to keep it consistent rather than saying all night, have it say overnight in both provisions, trying to just clean it up grammatically. But essentially it would be a municipal lot. The chief also suggested that they clean up the overnight parking or the municipal lot overnight parking so they can enforce things over there as well. So you'll see,
Is that what's in blue, the change, proposed changes?
mine's red, but yours might be blue. Yes.
How's it?
Yes, yours are blue.
That doesn't delineate the party involved.
It doesn't delineate the party or,
Okay.
no.
Political party, blue and red.
Only you, Jeff.
Oh,
Only you.
I just didn't understand the implications. but I'll-
So we added a section for overnight parking for the municipal lots.
But wait a minute, now, what about, like, out back here is a municipal lot.
Mhm.
We have a lot of people that park overnight because we have several apartments over here that have no parking, so I'm not okay with that.
Well, it says only in municipal lots marked, no overnight
Overnight
parking. So if we mark them, no overnight parking, like we do with the lot across the
Right,
village,
right.
then they can't park there. If they're not marked, then they can.
Correct.
Now, the one out back is not marked, no overnight parking.
Not that I'm aware of.
I'm not.
And I
Well,
think
before we
there's some-
sign this, let's make sure it is not
Okay.
marked, no
Well,
overnight parking.
So my goal with this is today's the input day. We make revisions today. We do all we need to do today, and then we'll put it on for a public
Right.
hearing at the next meeting. I wanted to get the language to you
I
first
mean,
before we just go.
I'm okay with having something on that says no overnight parking in municipal lots that are marked.
Yeah.
But we need to,
Identify which ones are
Right.
marked and not.
because we have such a housing crisis in this town, to take away parking and then create more of a housing crisis for the few apartments that do get rented to workers. I don't want to do that.
I don't disagree either. I think,
The only problem, to comment on that is winter time, when people have to plow it, when our people have to plow because it's a municipal lot. And obviously you don't want people getting plowed in or having plows that go parking around Wigway. So, there's got to be a happy medium.
I haven't heard there being any issues in the past with Nate or Bill, actually. But I absolutely agree with what you're saying. If it becomes an issue, we'll have to address it.
I mean,
we
maybe it could be a winter ban, overnight parking, something like, again, I'm not that familiar
I
with
think
the
that's-
chief's issue or Ron's issue.
I think that's gonna be a problem, because that lot out back here gets used for overnight parking year round.
Mhm.
Right.
I think that the restriction should be, it
Must be
can't
moved
be
by-
moved, it can't be left there for 10 days, because then you can never plow around it. I don't know.
I
if
don't
it
remember
needs
there
to be-
ever being an issue.
I don't remember there being. an
Again,
issue
I'm not
either.
aware.
But-
If
but-
there was an issue, we would be the ones who would towed it, and I don't ever recall there being
Yeah.
an issue there.
I think if need be, we can put an hour limitation as to how long a vehicle can be left there without moving it. But I don't want to create that rule if there's never been a problem.
Right.
So,
Or, yeah, exactly.
Maybe talk with Nate.
Something that says cars must be moved between the hours of 8 AM and noon on days that there snows or something. After a snow spin.
We must have like an inclement weather policy, don't we, when it comes to roads and.
well, they can't park on the streets.
Right.
But we do, but it's kind of in what order roads and sidewalks we maintain,
Right,
not
Right, I don't think there's anything in there about
parking.
municipal parking lots.
Okay.
I I think it's just kind of work
It ain't
out.
broke, let's not fix it yet, but we'll keep it on our radar that might have to be addressed.
So that's the overnight parking piece, and then the second piece is the permit parking.
Permit parking.
Yes. So essentially, the first paragraph is the authority to designate permit parking, which gives the selectmen the authority to say this municipal lot is for permitted parking only, or vice versa. And then the second paragraph essentially just says that either the, if it isn't, if it doesn't have a permit, that the police have the authority to either tow and or ticket.
The only thing that I saw was, it says fire hydrant, under the penalties and violations, is fire hydrant blocking or within 20 feet. 20 is crossed off, 15 needs to be inserted there.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
there was just nothing inserted, I just want to make sure that.
Oh, there wasn't?
No, in my copy there isn't, it's just
No,
like,
mine too.
just like we were getting rid of the limitation.
No,
I
no,
saw that it did.
20 was wrong.
Word,
yes.
right, because the wording says 15. And then the other thing, I just, been reading over this, didn't understand what this meant. But it's the same as under pedestrians. Upon approaching a pedestrian with, upon a traveled part of a highway or street and not upon a sidewalk, such vehicle shall be slowed down and timely signal shall be given. What signal are they required to give to the pedestrian? Because I only thought of one and it's
It's not an appropriate one.
appropriate. We certainly don't want to mandate it.
Upon approaching a pedestrian who is upon a traveled part of
In a street, not on the
and
sidewalk.
not on the sidewalk.
Right.
Just slow down. and
So if there's no
timely-
sidewalk, no crosswalk, and they're walking, what,
We'll lay on their horn. No, I'm just kidding. No, no.
I just didn't know what that meant and that needs
Right.
clarification.
I don't know what it means either, and I don't know if it's,
We want to know we're blowing our horn or waving to them.
okay. I'll ask
Oh,
Chief.
and how many fingers we wave with.
Okay.
Those are the only two things I have.
And then obviously updating the fines and penalties to include the permit parking.
Yeah, I saw that and that all looks good.
So this will be on our agenda again next.
Yeah, that was my thought, is that this would be kind of a work session to work
Perfect.
out the kinks, and then we bring it, for approval at the next
Yeah.
meeting.
For the overnight parking,
Sure.
just a list of what lots either would be or would not be labeled no overnight parking.
Sure.
And I'm thinking the one out back here is
Overnight.
not
It's
signed.
overnight is permitted.
It's
Overnight is
allowed,
permitted.
yeah.
But I'm not sure if there's any other town lots they were
I
gonna.
think it's just the one there and now ladies.
Isn't there, I feel like, I may be wrong, but I feel like someone said that the front lots
Yes.
along,
Yes.
in the village shops is no overnight parking as well.
And
Oops.
those are our lots, or we have use of those, I shouldn't say they're
Yeah.
ours. We have an easement for town use,
Yes.
it still
I've
belongs.
left cars overnight there because Pleasant Street across the way, it's limited, I mean, it's a small street. And I've definitely left vehicles, when my sister comes up or whatever, and I can't fit all of them in the driveway, I'll park across the
Sure,
street, leave it there.
Well, and again, if someone's at the Gypsy Cafe and they had a
Have a-
cocktail and they want to walk home, that's what we want them
Yeah,
to do.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, car there.
Exactly.
So I guess if there is no overnight parking on that strip, do we want to take it off?
Yeah, I would be in favor of that. Absolutely. I mean, I
Let's
don't want to,
just check and see if there's a sign there.
I wouldn't want to put up a sign that says overnight parking permitted, but if
Right.
there's one that says no overnight parking, just
Take
remove
that
it.
down.
Well, before we remove it.
Let's see if there's one
let's see
there,
what-
and then
no,
talk
let's
about it
See
again.
what number one, what our lease says.
Okay.
Because again, that was it's not a
Alright,
lease,
yeah,
it's
me too. It's a
An easement.
99-year, yeah.
Okay.
See what it says, because I don't want to do anything that upsets.
Yeah,
That's in Russia's property.
It
Good
is.
call.
Yeah,
call.
and that's up for sale.
So,
Okay, we'll identify which lots actually say no overnight parking, and then we can kind of talk it through, or I'll send it to you.
We can list them there, yeah.
One further question. We've reduced the space to the hydrant by 5 feet, giving the public 5 feet more. Should we,
It's just aligning with state law.
It's state law.
oh,
It's
is that what
aligning
it
with
is?
state law,
Okay,
yeah.
we can't override that?
No,
No, I'm
It
just
was a
saying,
dollar
the more
amount.
space you have for an engine or, you know, the medical personnel.
But it was
or
the
what
dollar
have
amount, went from
No.
20 to 50.
no, it was the feet.
It was
So
the feet,
they weren't
okay.
consistent throughout the actual ordinance. In the
Gotcha.
paragraph, it said 15 feet, but on the fine schedule, it said 20 feet. State
Okay.
law is 15, so we had to change it to the
Yeah.
15.
Oh, okay, all right, that explains it, thank you.
All right, then, that's the discussion. We won't vote on that tonight.
We'll bring it back. We'll
Thank
we'll
you.
notice it.
Clarify.
and-
Thank you,
Yeah, I
and
mean-
Chief for doing that, or
Yeah.
DC, whoever it was. Yeah.
Basically, it looks fine.
Yeah,
We just have some
awesome.
questions.
Thank you.
No worries.
All right. Do you want to go?
Yeah, I think we should talk, this is stuff that kind of came up today, the new stuff, so I figured it wasn't on the agenda, but it's kind of more of an agenda item, so I think we should roll with it in the.
All right. First up is the easement agreement between the town of Lincoln and South Peak LLC. And I know we've batted this back and forth and we've seen, this is the latest version, at least it looks like the latest version.
It
There's
is.
no changes from what we got by email.
Mhm.
And it consists of a temporary construction easement that's 300 feet wide, big swath going up from the water treatment plant up to the Forest Service land. And then that goes away and it will be replaced by what's termed in here as a permanent access easement, which will be determined once the road and piping is either in place or we know where it's gonna go. And it will be a reduced size following the road and or water
Right.
pipes, which may not be in the same path as each other. And then there's indemnification, successes and assigns. And I mean, we've all read this in various iterations, but
Was that good enough for the Forest Service?
We believe so, because it addresses both
Temporary.
the temporary and the
And the
permanent.
permanent,
They just want to
okay.
ensure that we will have access to that site permanently.
Yeah.
permanently,
Yeah.
which this does.
Correct.
Um,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay,
1 second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
On the same note with the South Peak, on Thursday, we have a meeting with Horizons to discuss the survey and the survey work, what needs to be defined for the survey
Okay.
work. So Horizons, Mark, Sam, Kenny, Nate, and myself are all gonna be
Sam,
on the
still
Zoom.
feel we're on track to meet that mid-July.
We're hoping
deadline?
so. So our concern is we're now, 6 weeks out till end of July. We've expressed that to Mark and his team, and they have, from what we've been told, they have expressed that to Horizons, that we're gonna be in like a 3-week crunch time turnaround. And more so for the reason on Zoom on Thursday to get us all on the same page and to have everyone understand that we need this survey completed in a month, essentially,
Right.
Or less.
or less. But we're meeting, like I said, with John from Horizons and Mark and Nate and Sam on Thursday at 1. So hopefully that ball will be rolling.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right, we had postponed making a decision on an abatement request, just because we had more questions. Basically, there was a $90-ish thousand reduction in the assessment based on adjusting the grade as the kitchen and bathrooms are more of an average construction quality and a land adjustment for the water runoff issue on the back of the property. And we just asked for more information regarding
Well,
those.
is that the one that the house next door had the water runoff issue and had a $10,000 abatement? So they were quantifying $80,000 abatement for a kitchen.
Well, so I looked into it a little bit more. I spoke with Cindy from CNP, and then I also spoke with the property owner. So essentially,
Were those the pictures?
yeah, pictures of
Gotcha.
the water issues, the drainage issues that they have on the land are included in there. Also, the kitchen is not just It's essentially original, it's Formica and whatnot. But more importantly is the change in the building value from the original assessment to the new assessment is 91, it was a 91% increase. So essentially the property doubled. Whereas if you look at all the other homes on the street, the average was only about 60%. And then if you look at the change in the building value, their building value went up 38%, where the average home on the street only went up 20%. And this house has the smallest square footage out of all the homes on that street. So when Cindy kind of factored all that in, the
Okay, so it wasn't
$90,000,
just-
it wasn't
okay,
just, yes,
okay.
the explanation
Okay.
didn't justify the
Okay, I'm good with
reduction
that.
in value.
okay,
I'll make a yeah, I do. I'll make a motion to approve the abatement.
I'll
as
second.
All those in
Yeah.
favor?
Thank you. Aye.
Thank you for looking into that.
Yeah, I appreciate
Um,
that.
You know, we
A lot of
trust-
research, thank you.
We trust our assessors but just always want to just.
Yep,
they
it was-
don't
That one
understand
just
what they
jumped
do.
out that, you know,
Yeah, no, especially
Yeah.
when you were going down the line and it seemed to be much greater than the rest of them, but
Yeah.
looking into it a little bit
Yeah.
more, it seems pretty justified.
Perfect. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
No worries.
All right, and those are the only two things that I had other than the,
We should see the rest of the abatements. Cindy told me by the end of the week, we should have them, so
Okay.
hopefully by our next meeting, you'll receive the remaining abatements.
okay, and there was another abatement request that there was an email about.
Yes, that was taken care of today.
Did they make a written?
So essentially, they never filed the formal written abatement form. What I got from the gentleman who sent the email is that he was in Florida, back and forth between Florida, and had a kind of backlog of mail, and so we didn't meet the
I missed
timeline
it, yeah.
to discuss his property originally in January, when they were going through the, discussions. But Cindy and him had a conversation, and he supplied Cindy information in regards to those property. So Cindy made adjustments to those properties prior to the first half billing going out. And I supplied him with the new assessed values, and he's satisfied. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
no worries.
Okay, so there wasn't an abatement because the adjustments were made by the assessors.
By the
as part of
assessors,
just like they make adjustments to.
Like one of the
changes.
pickups,
Okay,
essentially.
Okay, and he's satisfied.
He's satisfied.
Excellent.
One of the properties, he said he'd like to see a little bit lower, but he's gonna take it, so.
Well, okay, but,
He can always go to court if he so desires.
Well, and he can file for an abatement next year, a formal abatement, so.
all right, then let's move on to the town manager's report. Did you
All
sign
right.
that?
Yeah, it's right there with the
Okay.
rest of everything.
Do you wanna?
Okay, so I wanted to bring to the board's attention to a Senate bill and a House bill that have both been passed, and they're giving additional funding to municipalities in 2023. Senate Bill 401 allocates 36 million for municipally owned buildings, bridges, and roads. Well, for bridges, essentially 30 million for municipal roads and 1 million for body worn camera. Essentially, what that's going to give the town of Lincoln is an additional $60,000 that's going to come. It's a similar calculation as the highway block grant.
Okay,
So in 2023, they gave us an estimate of roughly $60,000 Lincoln will see in addition from Senate Bill 401.
and just a question,
Mhm.
is that anticipated to be like the highway block grant where it doesn't all need to be spent in that fiscal
Correct.
year?
It's,
Okay.
but it's going to be spent for the same purposes.
Same purposes.
Yes.
But we don't have to do that all in one year.
No, I think it's non-lapsing,
Got it, thank you,
but it's only going to be a one-time disbursement.
that's fine.
House Bill 1221 provides a one-time payment by the state to each individual municipality for 7.5% of the employer's contribution to the New Hampshire retirement system for police and fire and teachers. We obviously only have the police end of things where that's gonna affect us, but we can, our 7.5% of our share is right around 22,837. So that will be a reduction in next year's budget for us.
Nice.
So, thank you.
So,
For
yeah, no
some
kidding,
state
that's
aid.
always good,
We'll take
yeah.
anything we can get, right?
So going back to the Senate Bill 401,
Yes,
this is a one-shot deal,
mhm,
okay.
yes. Unfortunately, both of them are one-shot deals. Building committee update. So we actually just had a building committee meeting prior to this meeting where we over the past couple of weeks have identified, we received 7 responses to our RFQ. We created a short list of 3 firms Al's in the public today. Before this meeting, we went through some interview questions that we all supplied and Ray Corber helped supply and kind of worked out a game plan on how we'll do the interviews for the firms, and we will be holding interviews on June 17th.
How many are on the short list?
3.
Excellent.
Moving forward.
Great.
Riverfront Park update. So Ray Corber provided us an update on the Riverfront Park project. Nobis is working with NH on the field work. And what regulatory framework will be applied to the site. Essentially, they're hoping that we can fall within the lesser tier of regulations because of the pre-existing site prior to the 1981, I think, landfill rules. We're hoping that DES concurs with that assessment and that we will hopefully have a report from Nobis with the input from DES by the end of June.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome.
We're hoping. But at least that gets us, to a point where DES is on board, and then we can start moving with whatever remediation or the Brownsfield side of things, essentially.
Excellent.
Invest New Hampshire Housing Incentive Fund. So I'm not sure if you've heard of this. This is something new that's kind of come up in the last month or so. But the Executive Council approved the Business of Economic Affairs Department's $100 million Invest New Hampshire Incentive Fund to try to create housing in New Hampshire, because it's not only a problem for Lincoln, it's a problem for New Hampshire as a whole. So included in that program are a couple different avenues. 60 million will go to actually investing in these buildings for developers to build multifamily housing. So there'll be some sort of grant program for gap funding for multifamily housing projects.
But
So
but these have to be low income. I was looking at it and went all the way around it. This sounds awesome,
Yeah.
but it must be provided as low income.
Yeah, we'll take
Right.
this on the.
And it's already projects that are essentially, they're looking for gap funding that have
Right.
already spent X number of dollars and they're already vested and they're already
We need-
essentially in the works.
We need workforce housing, right?
One of the avenues that potentially Lincoln could benefit from is 30 million are going to the Municipal Impact Funding Fund or grants. Essentially, that is the for any project that the municipality approves and can be completed within or the permit can be approved within a 6-month time period, the municipality would get a $10,000 per unit grant from the state because they're supporting multifamily housing, essentially. So if the town of Lincoln were to find a developer, or a developer was interested into coming into town and developing a portion, of land,
Build a duplex.
well, it has to be a minimum of 5 units. So
Okay.
it would have to be an apartment building or multiple duplexes probably could work. The town of Lincoln could be eligible to get 10,000 per unit.
In a grant to go towards what?
It says grants would be made directly to the permitting municipality to use for municipal government services that are eligible under ARPA.
Oh,
So, and I think we could follow the lost revenue rule, where as long as it's a general government service, because we're not collecting the total 10 million that we're allotted to in lost revenue, we could probably get it under lost revenue.
would that
guidelines.
have to qualify, under all this would have to qualify as low income housing,
Low and middle income, it says.
low and moderate, correct?
Low and
Low,
middle.
low and moderate,
Oh,
but we are a
so-
low and moderate income community. We already qualify that through the,
But if a developer came in and built a condo complex or something with
Mhm.
10 units, and then, sold them all to second homeowners, that would qualify.
That wouldn't qualify. Nope, they would have to, you're
They would
right.
have to be rental.
They would
units
have to be
for low
rental
to
units.
moderate income,
They would
which
have
is
to
what we
meet,
want. Right.
which is what we
Right.
want. They would have to meet the Grafton County guidelines for what is considered a 2-bedroom unit or a 3-bedroom
What
unit.
do we have in our loop as far as apartment buildings go? Aren't there restrictions on how many units we can build in an apartment building in town?
No, there's restrictions on height, setbacks,
Mhm.
and land coverage.
But not how many units in a
To
building.
build 100 units in one building, you got a piece of land that would support it. I mean, I don't know if that even
Fantastic.
exists, but there's no limit on
Okay,
the number of units.
like I'm just, and I'm not as familiar with it as you are, obviously, but I'm just thinking back, I know there was something in there about like rooming houses and duplexes and triplexes, and, but I don't know,
Yeah.
you know more about it than I do, so that's why I was asking.
knows how to tease people, but
That's what awesome, if we could get someone to come in and build. some houses. It was about a few years ago, they got moved out of town.
Yeah, I
Still
mean, I
think
think
that
that
that's an awesome.
again, the problem with that is what land can they do it on?
I still think we ought to cut that industrial park in
I-
half because it's, when the industrial park was built and approved and made, it was because we needed businesses in town. That's no longer the need in town. The need now is housing. And there is an extremely viable way to cut that in half, fence it, put plantings up, separate it. There's another entrance. We could have 20 housing units in there for workforce housing, not low income, not, what people are afraid is gonna end up being a welfare drug den. It's workforce housing, which is so needed in this town. So
Paul wanted
needed.
to say something too. Do you want me to, Paul?
Yes, but you all set?
Yeah.
I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead, Paul.
I know. I didn't
Don't
mean
worry,
to-
I'll yellow when I want to.
Go ahead, Paul.
You're muted.
I thought I was unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
The other thing I want to add to that is it might be beneficial to look up on the highway, because wasn't the highway up on the highway designated it as a TIF district? And that way there, they would get reduced taxes as well for doing that up there. I'm not sure if the two could be consolidated, but I mean, the highway seems to be a great place to look for if there's any possible uses for employee housing up there or properties for low-income people. And I believe it's already been set aside as a TIF district, which gives it reduced taxes. So if they could qualify for both the tax, incremental finance district and this thing that Karina's talking about, it might really help a lot of businesses to be able to do something.
Yes, it's not a TIF district. I forget the official name of it, but it was an economic incentive zone or some
Yeah.
kind of, something zone.
Oh, an opportunity zone. Yeah.
Opportunity
Yeah,
zone.
there you
Thank
go.
you, Jane.
Yep.
What was it again?
Opportunity zone.
Oh, I thought it was a TIF district, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, a TIF district would have to be voted on by town meeting. An opportunity zone was designated by the governor Sununu.
Yeah. And the feds.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, there was something done up there so that they could get reduced taxes, I thought, back when Matt Henry was here, I thought, but
Been there for quite a while, and I don't know if anyone's taken advantage of that.
I think very few
No.
have. I think very few have it throughout the state. It does open up the door for potential, I mean, there are opportunity zone grants specific for those zones.
Right.
It would give a developer, at least it would give them incentive. I think Paul's correct that if they kind of combined the two, it might, yeah.
yeah, it might be quite a windfall for them. Well,
Right.
the windfall would be that they could create housing for employees, that's at a lower cost.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you.
It
Yep.
shows the entire town as an opportunity zone.
Usually it's along corridors.
Yeah, no, it's the
Route 3 corridor, so it might encompass most of the town.
Shows the whole town.
but it shows that, is that the green ones?
Grafton County final opportunity zone tract. And then the remainder is white. the US Census Bureau.
don't know if you designate a whole town as
I
an
know,
opportunity
no.
zone.
Right.
From what I
Yeah.
remember.
I think you'll find it's on the highway, Route
It's
3.
it's on the state of New Hampshire website.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
I
know
think
where
we
else
can
to.
designate a whole, I think we can designate. a-
See, it's the state of New Hampshire website, Opportunity Zone Maps. If you go to Grafton County, it shows the whole town.
It might be like
So I don't know.
like,
how
it might be like
designate
Route
it.
3 and the surrounding, like a
Area.
buffer zone, the surrounding area.
I
like
don't
it, you know.
disagree, but
Yeah, but it shows,
I went to look at what it was
Right,
and it shows me the whole thing.
why I question that is, every town that's shown, it's the whole town.
Yeah.
And I don't think.
Yep.
As I
Let me look a
remember,
little
'cause I
further
was
and see if I
involved,
can find-
somehow, when we were talking about that,
I personally thought it was corridors, like
Yeah.
I know that
Right.
3A in Plymouth, which I live off of, was one of the opportunity zones. I know Route 49 through Campton actually Campton wasn't included, it was just Thornton and Waterville was an opportunity zone, so.
I thought it was the whole town because I know 2 years ago, when a developer attorney,
Speak up.
when a developer attorney spoke to me about that, and he mentioned that the town of Lincoln.
Well, if it's the whole town, even better, I
That's
mean,
even better.
Yeah,
But-
and again, I'm not positive, but
Also part of this Invest New Hampshire for Housing is 5 million for demolition grants, where if there are any buildings within town that the municipality is having trouble offloading or is becoming a liability, that they are also doing competitive grant programs to demolish those buildings.
The old town garage.
Are there any tax title properties that we have in our possession at this point in time that need to be demolished?
I don't believe so. I believe the only one we have right now is a land-only parcel essentially.
All right, love you.
yeah, Paul,
Town.
Yeah, how about the old town garage up on the highway? I thought that was in pretty bad repair. I know the
Up on what
snowmobile club
highway?
put some money into it, but I mean,
It's not in bad shape. It's not in bad
I
shape.
thought it was-
They put a roof and siding on
we
it. It's
just,
actually in
we
pretty
just
decent
signed a
shape.
lease for that, to
Yeah,
the snowmobile club.
all right. I thought it was in bad shape at one time, but
Up
Well,
on
I
Route
mean-
3,
Yeah.
the old state barn garage that the
all right.
town now owns.
Oh, okay.
And we did a year-to-year lease with that, for the snowmobile club. They wanted to put some money in it, but didn't want to do it knowing that their lease was only for 1 year. So we went to the town this year to sign, was it a 5-year?
I don't know,
A longer-term lease, just to give them
incentives.
incentive to,
Spend some money.
spend some money knowing that we're not gonna whip it, take it back from them.
Yeah.
After they spend the money.
okay, the town of Lincoln has one designated opportunity zone. And again, this map shows the entire town.
Okay,
So,
How about,
yeah, that's not a bad thing.
how about over at the childcare center, that building over there, OJ, is that one in bad disrepair you might get some grant money?
What, the barn that has a nice brand new floor in
We just
it?
put a new floor
Brand
in
new
that.
floor, brand new roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not that one either.
No, okay. Just-
We did take down the shed out back, what came down a couple of years ago. So that's gone.
But the barn garage type area has
Yeah,
a
it
beautiful
was the old
floor. and-
manure barn that,
The old manure barn, right.
that
Yeah.
it's got a brand new roof, 5 or 6 years ago, and then a
Brand
new
new
floor
floor,
last
yeah.
year and brand new door. Yeah, no, it's all,
Back up in shape.
yeah, and that was done, I
An
mean, there
entryway.
was some town dollars that went into it, but Rotary had a couple of
Lot.
grants. They helped with the roof, with the painting, the water collection for the community garden, stuff
Right.
like that.
Well,
was-
we also would have to argue that it's to advance redevelopment purposes, it's not just to rip down an old
Oh,
building.
gotcha.
It's to rip down an old building to redevelop it as housing.
Housing, gotcha. Yeah, it was probably
Oh, how's,
housing in the middle of the parking lot of the community center.
Yeah,
But I think it's good to get the word out. I think
Sure.
it's good to get, let the public know that, these opportunities are out there and it could be mutually beneficial for both a developer or a private investor and also the town.
And there's money available.
And there's money available for it.
Well, that's
Um,
good.
All right, moving on. I'll just give you another quick land use permit code enforcement update. Right now, we have 4 active land use permits that are under KB Partners review, 2 active long-term and 2 inactive because they require a variance. Just to give you a little update, I looked back at the first time I gave you a code enforcement update in
Yeah.
January.
18.
We had 21 active
21,
in
okay.
January, and then in March, we had 18, and then in May, we had 14, and in June, we have 6. So
That's amazing.
we are moving in the right
Get
direction,
'em off the
absolutely with that. So,
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
for spearheading that
no
effort
worries.
and our appreciation to
The team,
Carol,
yeah,
Lisa,
it's def-
Ron,
yeah,
Ray, everybody involved.
Everybody, Ryan.
Ryan.
absolutely. Everyone
And-
has,
And you, I mean, it's, you know,
Right.
you get a good leader and you get good things happen.
well,
so thank
like I
you.
said, everyone has been
Great
really
team.
receptive to the change and
great
has
team.
really just, got us in a spot where no one's head is underwater anymore, and
Perfect.
that's a good feeling, so. Last on my report is the North Country Council, the 10-year transportation improvement plan. I did submit our corridor study project last Friday.
Yep.
We should hear back from North Country Council if our project has been selected by July. So we've got about
Oh,
a month
good.
that we're gonna wait on that. Yeah, not too bad.
Good.
The only other thing I have for this evening is Kristen, the town clerk, asked me to just announce it this evening that she will be closed on Wednesday. She's attending a training, but that she will be reopening Friday.
Oh, good. Well, trainings are always good.
Yes.
Always, yeah. And if that's the day it's available, that's the day it's available, yeah.
And then next week, we are closed for our spring cleaning on Wednesday and Thursday, but Kristen is going to stay open on Wednesday to not disrupt the customers coming in and out for motor vehicle registrations. So as long as we can do our thing and be in the attic and whatnot, I think that's fine.
Oh, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, I mean, she's right inside the
She's
door.
right inside the door and,
Yeah.
and
Disrupt anything.
she's busy from the moment she opens until usually the moment she closes.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't want to have another day of that office being closed, so.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's pretty much all I have for tonight.
All right, is there any update on that fence on Hanson Farm Road? Did we find out if we ever made payment to the landowner or?
To be honest, that's kind of slipped off my
Okay.
radar, but I'll look into that. I know that we discussed the stockade versus chain link, and Nate was gonna look into that and get a quote for that, but I don't know if payment has ever been made, but I will try to confirm that.
Speaking of Nate, boy, we got so lucky when we hired that man.
Oh, Jesus, you're not kidding.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Also speaking of Nate, I'll just give you a little update. So the Army
Corps of Engineers.
Corps of Engineers will be here on Thursday to do our annual.
The levy?
Yeah, site inspection. So Nate will be meeting with them on 2:00 on Thursday. So I know he's working this week to shore up some things.
Mowing done.
Yep. And then also he did a site walk with Ray last week for the West Street, the completion of the West Street project. They identified some issues that would need to be addressed before final completion, such as the turf establishment and some other
Couple
very
little things. yeah.
minor
It
things.
wasn't anything major though.
Wasn't anything
Yeah,
major,
good.
nope, minor things that we kind of heard through the grapevine through the last, 6 months or so about, the grass growing in and maybe some little bit of drainage issues and burns and whatnot, but nothing he said that should be an issue in addressing. So,
Great.
so hopefully I did, I don't know if I should say this in public, I did touch base with attorney Dennis in regards to the West Street litigation and when we could potentially see that get moving again. And he said now that that final site visit has happened, he would just essentially wait for a report from Ray. And that kind of gets the
Get that submitted and then it
ball
goes,
rolling
gets
up
rolling
again.
again.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Good.
so. All I got.
Okay. I didn't really have anything in public.
I had a couple of things.
Go ahead.
I have that, and I don't know if this is right, that we don't have a meeting next week on
We do not.
13th. The following, the week, the 20th is Juneteenth, which is now a federal holiday. We open?
Technically, yes. we have to give the PD and all the labor union contract folks the additional holiday because their contract says
Says
all
all
federal
federal
holidays, so
holidays,
we'll have to add that on, but they have weird schedules when it comes to holidays
right,
anyway,
right,
so it's
right,
just an extra
right.
day.
But town hall is open, it's.
As of right now, town hall is open, yes.
Okay, just checking. 'Cause
Yes,
if we
yes.
would, because if we're not here
I
next
envision
week.
that if we made any changes to add a federal holiday, it would be done during the personnel policy revisions where we outline the holidays and all
right.
that stuff, which is gonna be done this year.
Right, no, and the only reason I asked is if we
We're gonna
weren't
be
meeting
closed, right.
next week and then the following week, that might be an issue. And meeting with Woodstock, has that been set in stone?
May 31st, they were discussing it and Judy said she's getting back in touch with me. So it's either the second or, I forgot the date.
And it corresponded to.
11th to 25th?
It
July-
corresponded to dates that we had our regular meeting,
Yes.
so it
Right.
wouldn't, the
I'm
two
just
dates that
curious
they
if
threw out.
if we-
Yeah, no, I don't think they've
So
confirmed
it's not a
that yet.
special.
Okay, and then funding formula. Did you look into if there was a conflict with me being the board representative because I'm on both boards?
No.
They need an answer. I forget was it by the 10th, the end of the week?
I'll find out tomorrow for you.
You said you can't do it, correct?
I said I don't want to do it.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean,
If there's no conflict, I don't mind doing it. If there is a conflict, which one of you wants it? OJ wants it.
fine.
So if there's no conflict, I'll do it, let Judy know. If there is a
And they'll go
conflict,
with you.
There we go.
OJ will do it, let Judy know.
Okay.
I'll
I'll get that done this week.
Paul also asked last week about the possibility of putting an I-93 sign at the corner by Napa. Did you have a chance to look into that? Look through your emails with Paul, is it Julio?
Bolio from DOT. I haven't found any correspondence in
Nothing.
regard to that, no.
Okay.
But I also will preface that by saying that Butch had probably 20,000 documents on his computer and in his email. Jane can testify to
And
that.
that's fine. But
I
before
did
we
like,
go,
all I'm doing is like typing in I-93 and I'm
Yeah.
looking through,
yeah,
you
no,
know.
that's fine.
Okay.
But before you go any further than that, I would have the conversation with Chad.
Okay.
And just get his thoughts on pushing traffic that way.
Right.
Before we contact the state to see if they'll do it.
Okay.
And then the 4th of July parade theme is saluting Lady Liberty or something like that. I'll find it, I forget now.
Oh, I need that poster.
I'll send that to you right away. And parade permits have been applied for.
Yep, done.
Thank you so much. Our Lady Liberty is the 2022 4th of July parade theme. They are still having the cookout hosted by the Rotary Club to benefit the Lincoln Wood area senior citizens at Soldier Park in North Woodstock at 11 a.m. Parade at 2. The concert at the Common in Woodstock is at 7 p.m. and then fireworks at dusk, which is usually around 9-ish p.m. Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there.
Fun times.
So Our Lady Liberty, I'm thinking of the floats. I think I might be Lady Liberty.
Oh, boy.
How awesome is it gonna be?
So awesome.
Come
Your
on.
arm's gonna be tired.
No kidding. The shoulder, right? And then maybe build a cast, so they just rest it up there. So I'll figure something.
Tied to a stake.
It's gonna be fun. It is. And that was all I had. Thank you.
I have on my schedule, I have blocked off this Wednesday for a trial. And I don't know if that was the third date of the Chief Smith trial or the first date of the Janine Wood trial. I should have been more specific in my calendar,
I have no idea.
but
I think it was Ted.
okay, that's what I
think.
Okay, we're not ready to go to trial on the Janine Wood case. are we?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Yeah, okay.
We still haven't heard back from her,
The attorney the judge on that appeal.
on the
right,
appeal,
right.
on the, yeah, on her
So
second,
this,
right,
that's gotta be
it must be
the
10.
third date that I put in. Remember, they put 3 different things down. All right, sorry to disrupt, but Jack, do you have anything?
A couple of minor things. First and foremost, somebody in this room is on probationary status. And the probationary status actually ends next week, and we don't have a meeting. 6 months probation, so I
Oh,
would.
wow.
let's waive a week or extend a week. No,
Since we don't meet for 2
Am I getting
weeks.
fired, Jack? No.
Since we don't meet for 2 weeks, I'd move that we waive the 7-day or 6-day period and make the probationary status permanent.
Second. For our new town manager, Karina Park, second.
6 months?
Holy
Mhm.
cow,
Can you
that
believe it?
Doesn't
flew
doesn't it
by.
seem like last week?
Yesterday?
Yeah, like
Why
3.
does it seem like 10
Although
years?
some days it seems like
I was gonna say,
6 years,
yeah.
yeah, just saying.
No, but it's been half a year
That's
already.
awesome.
It's pretty
Doing a
crazy.
great job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Very satisfied.
Yeah, no,
And
I'm
did you
definitely-
second
I
that?
did second,
Okay, all
absolutely.
those in favor, aye.
Emphatically,
Thanks,
aye,
Jeff.
thank you.
Thanks,
Yes.
Jack.
Thanks for remembering.
Yes.
Thanks, Al.
Even old folks have good memories.
Yeah.
Secondly, I received a call from one of our constituents who hit a pothole in the bike trail. and
Those have been filled.
Those have been.
Well, I talked to her and I talked to Nate,
Yeah.
said, Jack, I'm on it now.
Yeah.
He said there's a lot of problems with
Mhm.
that. So I suggested to Karina that in that grant that we were applying for, possibly we could use it to
Reconstruct some,
upgrade
yeah.
that, do some work there. So.
I did include it in our proposal that there would be recreational trails as well as just the parking area. And so I think we could say that what's it called? The
Penstock.
Penstock Trail is a trail that leads into the
It's a
same
recreational,
field.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
it is, and it could upgrade the trails as well. So I think if we do get funding for that, if there's any remaining, it wouldn't be a bad use of it.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Nate did say that it's in pretty rough shape and that it's
Yeah,
gonna
He
take,
did tell me that.
it needs some
it needs some major work and not
reconstruction,
just
yeah.
cold patching,
It's reconstruction, yeah.
reconstruction.
And like you said, Timmy, he was down there that day.
Oh, yeah, he's
catching
been,
the
like I
whole
said,
thing.
we
He
got
was right
so
on it.
lucky hiring that guy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
So I talked to him about,
He's awesome.
if things fall through with the grant or we don't know about it, then maybe we need to be investing more into the CIP for that project, because it's gonna be,
Yes,
it's not just, we can't just cold patch it for very much longer.
Yeah,
yeah,
and,
it's on his radar. He's-
Yeah.
and yeah, I would say that needs to be a topic for the CIP committee to discuss, because as I remember, it was on the CIP as the Penstock Trail, and it was specifically, or at least the current issue was the railings.
Yes, they were falling apart.
And we had put money aside for the railings. The railings are the cheap, easy part. It's
Right.
it's the culverts and the asphalt and the subsurface that's
Absolutely.
gonna be the expensive part. So,
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a little time to figure out,
and it's gonna take a little time to build up some money to
do
do
so.
anything with, because that's gonna be expensive.
very expensive. Not
I
gonna
wonder
be
if there's
an easy
any
fix.
other recreational grant out there that would cover something like that.
Quite possibly, I mean, if you want me to look into it, I can put
I mean,
feelers
don't
out
put a
there.
bunch of effort into it, but
Yeah.
see if something pops up.
Take a quick look. and see.
Because,
Yeah.
there's a lot of accent put on biking opportunities.
Absolutely.
Rail trails and things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, so.
Alternate transportation.
I'm sure there
yeah.
are, grants
That
out
might
there
be the
for the
key
bike.
word right there.
There you go, alternate transportation, yep.
Alternative transportation.
And the last thing that I had, I did walk over to West Street the other day. I was over there purchasing some flowers, talked with Karen O'Rourke and Mike Kahn. And legitimate concerns for what was brought to our attention in the public meeting. And Karina, I don't know if you said you were over there.
No, Nate and Ray were over there, yeah.
And the biggest issue that I saw, and it was a day after rain, was in the back of the Woods parking lot. There is a swale of puddle there. And I went down there in the wintertime to look at it too, and there was ice there. On the Rook side, there's a couple berms that should be cut down so water flows into a drain rather than, because they claimed that they had water in the basement over the winter time. And then the fence, they said that the fence was straight before and it's like that now. And I know those were issues that were brought up, whether that's on the total punch list, I don't know, but there was validity to the concerns of the neighbors there. And, Mike Hahn showed me where the gate was gonna be put, what have you, it hasn't been a gate up there yet.
Yeah, Nate's having,
Nate's working on it.
Nate's, the gate's on order. They told us that they would hopefully have it shipped to the vendor he purchased it from in the next 10 days or something. And then once they got it, we would get it. So it's coming, it's just, like
Like everything else in
everything
the
else,
country,
the
yeah.
sup- yeah, the,
Supply chain. is
Yeah.
Yeah.
slow.
yes,
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how Nate and Ray
what the punch list is.
look
Right.
at those two drainage issues, because those are the two that were brought up, was
Yeah.
the hoots on one side and a walks on the other.
Yes. To the layman here, they look legitimate.
Okay,
I can touch base with Ray on it.
okay,
That's it for me.
all right. Then,
We have non-public, yes?
yes. I'll open up for public participation if anyone has it. First of all, John, who's joining us on Zoom.
Yeah.
Do you want to just identify who you are? Nope. All right, Paul?
Yeah, I was just wondering if I could get an update on Lower Black Mountain Road when that's scheduled to be top coated.
We still
You
waiting
know?
for the co-op to move conduit?
Yeah, I
buried
don't,
lines?
yeah, I don't have, I essentially don't have an update because we're still waiting on the co-op.
Yeah, but it's kind of out of our hands. The next step in that process is the co-op was gonna move the utility, buried utility lines. I mean, I don't know. I know that once they do that, we're ready to move forward and finish that project up, but I don't have an update on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, Al?
I have two things. One of them I've already addressed with Selectman Tam. I'm a proud resident here, town of Lincoln. The levee is an example of what engineering feats can be completed. It's a beautiful site. Recently, I walked down there 2 or 3 times a week. My significant other walks down there almost on a daily basis. Right now, the grass is about 1 foot high, over 1 foot high. It'd be nice if we could get somebody to mow it. I did already bring up the
I
Tam.
think it was done today, actually.
They were switching over the sidewalk tractor from the
Okay.
sidewalk mower extension to be able to do the levee extension, so that's being done, either was started today or it's gonna be done by Thursday.
Because that's kind of a picturesque location where a lot of people go down, and by it not being mowed, it really reflects on the town.
Yeah, when we spoke earlier too, I did explain that you're extremely low-handed, short-handed with one employee we lost recently that moved on, and another employee that's been out sick for a while, and so they're very short-handed over there, and they're doing the best they can, but I absolutely valid concerns, and we heard you loud and clear.
And the second issue is, I live at 82 Pollard Road. I've had a problem with the generally located directly in front of my residence. There's been a pothole issue that's been going on for 3 years now, and I think everybody's well aware, if you drive down Pollard Road, January, February, March, they're always trying to fix this pothole. I've talked to the highway director at least 3 times about coming up with a solution. And it's been almost over a 3-year period. If there's something that can be done permanently, the area needs to be cut out, regraded or something. Every year it's just a continuous pothole which throws ice, salt, sand onto my vehicles sometimes and all over my area, and I end up with a big buildup of ice and snow and everything. And it's like kicking a can down the street. They did patch it with coal patch. I don't think they put any permanent patch in, but it's something that I've asked numerous times for them to come up with a solution to fix it. I think I deserve to have my road as nice as anybody else that lives on that street. It's a great street, and a lot of people take pride in their yards and everything, and it's just a constant problem.
Do you have
I
your
can't-
CIP on you?
Do what?
Do you have your CIP on you?
I do. I can't picture what you're talking about on Pollard Road.
Across, from next to JJ.
Right in front
Oh,
of my house, exactly in front of my house.
Okay. Okay. Then I know what Paul was talking about. I just couldn't,
And at one time it was referred to because of my construction, but we never went down to the street. I had a sewer line and a water line in place from the former residence that was there, so we never touched that. So it's been a problem that I've asked very nicely over the last 2.5 to 3 years for somebody to come up with a solution. And basically, they fill it, and then when comes winter again, we have the same problem over. So it'd be a great time to kind of like pre-plan it and fix it before the winter season, giving advance notice at least 6 months to.
Are you look,
for
you
the
wondering what the
director.
Pollard Road overlay is?
Yeah, when is that scheduled for?
26,
26.
How much money's in there now?
60.
I know our public works director did say that he was gonna hold off on all paving that he possibly could this year because the asphalt prices are more than double what they were last year. So any paving that doesn't absolutely need to get done is not going to get done this year.
It's just, we're not talking
Right,
a large area, we're just talking maybe a 10 by 15, 20-foot area
no,
that
I
really needs
hear
to be
you,
cut
I
out.
hear you. I know he's got one, and I think it's Lower Black Mountain that has to get done.
Right.
And then there was one other,
And I
small.
misspoke, Jeff, it's 80. It was 60 last year. We added 20 this year, so now we're at 80.
and is that all of Pollard Road?
It says Pollard Road overlay.
Because when we redid that road, it was redone in 3 sections. It was done from Pigeon Hill to Church, and then it was done from Church to Dodge, and then it was done from 112 down Dodge Place and all the way to
Yeah, it just
Camp
says.
Lodge Lodge. Right. So one.
But if they have,
60
the total estimated cost is 200,000.
60 was in there at the end of the year, we put in 10 this year. The 20 was what was in there
Oh,
last year.
yeah, so 70.
So
Gotcha.
70.
And those prices, you know, were what, 3 years ago?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
That
today
70 is
it's
gonna be
200,000.
That
100 and
70 is-
something, yeah.
Yeah, less than half.
I mean, but
It's really
200,000 is
35,000.
400,000,
Oh, easily.
So,
you know what I'm saying? But again, to solve Al's problem, it's not gonna take the whole money, the whole pot of money. that
yeah,
you
I'm
have
gonna
in
take a
that
ride
line
by
item.
there. I'm gonna
Just a
take a ride
small
by your
area,
house
you can see
today,
where it's
too.
patched, we did, there was a snowmobile trail that actually came off the guy's hitch. He hit it so hard last year, and the buses for Loon Mountain, everything would literally come to a stop to go over that area. So. I
Prior
have
to
talked-
it being filled,
Hey, Al,
Right,
prior
right,
to it
but
being,
it also
but now
took-
it's patched,
it is now,
Yeah.
but it's a continuous problem that's happened for 3 years now.
sure.
And it was unfilled for numerous weeks until I actually really squawked about it. It should have been filled immediately.
you didn't put that there intentionally to make people slow down, did you?
No, sir.
I know it's on Nate's radar. And we'll just mention to him to keep it patched as best we can until we can get something more permanent done.
More permanent solution.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it right rather than keep doing it, you know, half baked.
I know he's trying to coordinate what he does have for paving projects, do them all at the same time to keep the
Right.
cost down.
Yeah.
And I know that's not gonna be till the end of the summer. So,
Thank you, Al.
thanks, Al.
Thanks, Al.
But the Lower Black Mountain Road is
Is one of those.
few
Absolutely.
projects that we're gonna
Yeah.
commit to putting
That's what he
asphalt on,
indicated,
and
Yeah.
if something can be done about this,
At the
and
same
have it
time.
be
At the same
prepped
time.
and ready, so that when Lower Black Mountain,
Is
this
being
can,
done, right.
this can be done.
The
I think
crews are-
something too to bring to his attention during the CIP process too is you might want to rethink that because there's other spots in that road that I don't, going to 26, I don't think is going to be feasible. If you may want to look at that.
Speaking of which, do we have a start date for the CIP committee?
I believe that they're,
July?
yeah, I
know it's
believe,
in
I
July.
think it's in July. I
July.
know that,
Okay.
I know that Carol and.
We don't need an answer right now, Jane.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a
they set a
question.
date, I believe a date was set in July, they were
Yeah.
trying to get the department head requests out.
Okay.
They were
So
waiting,
that-
Carol and Jonna were coordinating the financial side of things and also the noticing side of things.
I have a question. I want to sit in the audience and observe. We're trying to institute a CIP at the school, which they don't have. They have a couple of trust funds, but it's not a CIP like we
Formal
have.
plan, yeah.
Right. And I just want to sit in and watch the process. Would it have to be posted as a selectman meeting if I'm there in the audience?
Because OJ and Jack would be there.
No, because Jack would be there, but there would be 2 of us.
So a quorum would
Probably
be there.
should. A
Or
quorum
you
would
could do
be
it
there.
via Zoom,
it would still be a
It'd
quorum.
It'd still be a quorum.
But it wouldn't be a legal meeting because you
No.
wouldn't be a quorum present.
Quorum present, you need,
Quorum present,
you need a quorum present for
you
the
need a quorum
select.
present.
But they don't Zoom them.
No, we don't.
Oh, well.
So I'm gonna ask that they be posted
Okay.
so that I need to learn it. I wanna learn it. I wanna see what I mean, I know what a CIP is, I know how it works, but I wanna literally see some of, and I probably won't put every one of them, but I wanna see some of the process.
We'll try to remember that.
Thank you.
We post those anyway as a public meeting.
Right, but not as a select
Right, let's
meeting, right?
just try to
Post
do
them
a
at the same time.
dual, that the selectmen will be meeting at the CIP public meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Let's figure that out.
Just figure out the wording
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
posting.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right, anything else in public?
Now, that brings us back to the other question there. When that school committee, you know, the rule,
Funding, yep.
if there's two select people there, does it have to be posted as a selectman committee too?
Well, there wouldn't be.
It's the same thing.
If you were
If you're
there, if you were the
if you're
representative
there-
of the school and he was
And I was
representative.
I'm not the
select-
representative of
Oh,
the
you're
school. They've chosen someone else already.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they had many other options, so no. I'm not the representative of the school. So would you be? That won't be an issue.
No, no, not that one.
But yes, if that was the
Yeah, yes, it
fact.
was.
Yeah.
Work.
All right, then, John, did you want to identify yourself? Just wondering who you were? For the
Just
minutes?
for the minutes.
All right, we tried. Then I'm gonna make a motion that we go into non-public just to discuss personnel, the personnel issue.
Yes,
Sounds
Is
good.
there anything else we need to discuss that I'm not aware of? There's no
No.
lawsuit, legal issue.
I hope not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks,
Al.
Al.
Thanks, Al.
Is there a second?
Second,
All those in
Oh,
favor?
before we go into non-public though, I know that, I just wanted to briefly mention this. I know that Jonna had sent out the financials to date. I don't know if you saw the expenditures to date. Something that, she sent it out like last week.
I
so,
saw
yeah,
it, but I
yes.
didn't
So,
thoroughly
one of the
look at it.
things that we might run into, is our heating fuel. Almost all the department's heating fuel lines are close to being totally expended, and we still have next winter to go. So with the way fuel prices are right now and the way heating, I just wanted to get that as a radar on just everyone's mind that, we might go over budget in the heating fuel lines in all departments.
Even gasoline for the vehicles that we operate.
So far, everything else is pretty standard where it should be. There are some things that are really low down, which is great, there are some things that we've barely spent anything, but if you look in every department, the heating fuel
Heating bill,
is an issue. That's all I have.
awesome.
All right, is there a second?
I seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we're
Wait a minute,
not
stop recording.
for,
Hang on.